Good evening, everyone. It's Jared Coleman, and this is my video on the Lotus Pose on 2 with the Seattle Seahawks, which I don't really like because of Pete Carroll, but I do like what Pete Carroll says in this article. Pete Carroll was a fantastic coach. If anybody watched USC play, they were one of the most fun teams to watch, and he always had his kids positive, excited. He was jumping up and down like they were. It was fun to watch them. And then everything he did at USC and then went to NFL, I kind of felt like he let those kids down a little, but I do love his mentality. So the 3 things that stuck out to me, one of the quotes was, "Quiet your minds, focus your attention inwardly, and visualize success." Two of the most inspiring times that I've played sports, a pitcher just was pitching and he'd come off the mound and sit by himself and just visualize what he was going to do to the next 3 at-bats, and it was fascinating because everything he envisioned the pitcher was successful with. And these pitchers were known for being wild and crazy and erratic, but they were focused fully on what they had to do. They quieted their minds and they stayed away from everything else and just controlled what they can control, and it was really special. The second thing was about, excuse my language, being a hard-ass coach. I have been like that at the JV level because of attitudes, but now that I'm at the varsity level and I'm taking over a new program, I have had to really tone it back, and it's been hard because I feel like if I push this team too hard, I will lose them all, especially since they just had a coach for a full year or 2 that is totally opposite of me. And so I have tried to be the guy who really cares for the athletes. I've always cared about my athletes. I've always talked to them. But even more so this year, if there's a family issue, I let them go. Things are more important than sports. And I feel like Pete Carroll hits the nail on the head there. I feel like if there's a guy who just is overwhelmed or it's too much, he probably just lets him go. I mean, being out there is too much. So letting those athletes go to clear their minds is very important and something we should do for them. I like to do high-stress situations in practice too. And sometimes it's just too much for them. They're young. They're learning. So everybody needs a break. And the third part is kind of basically goes off about the Kansas City Chief. One of the general managers, Ballard, when he talked about nobody cares about your problems, the fans don't care, the media doesn't care, and the ownership doesn't care. They care about results. And honestly, with what happened with the Kansas City thing is a terrible tragedy, but it is subject to how they treated them. I fully believe that. So I think as coaches, sometimes we value our athletes as objects instead of people. And if we start valuing them as people instead of objects, we're going to see different results. It's hard to change. It's hard for a coach to change. But if we can do that, I think we'll see the difference. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good night.